Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're talking about fantasy football quarterback rankings for 2020. Specifically, we're going to talk about our quarterback ones. That's 1 through 12. You shouldn't be taking any guys outside of that. Avoid it at all costs, I guess, but don't take them early. These are the only QBs you need to target in your fantasy football draft. We're also wrapping up our midsummer updated rankings here with this episode, and we'll be moving on to some other topics starting tomorrow. So let's start this fantasy football podcast right now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fantasy Football Upside. I am Justin, that is Kyle, and we always like to start off by saying thank you. Thanks for checking us out, checking out our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. And today we're going to continue our updated 2020 Fantasy Football rankings. We're going to go through our top 12 quarterbacks. This is what everybody likes to see as well. They love some quarterbacks. So in the last episode from this week, we gave you our top 12 tight ends. So definitely check that out in the description below, or Kyle's going to point where you can find it as well. Point.
Right there. Yeah. Right there. It's right about there. Whisper it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, look, definitely check out the tight end episode, guys. That's a tough one to win on. It really is, because the variance in that and the turnover of the top 12 is always
insane, especially this year. I feel like
year over year.
Yeah.
So not only that, but make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified when we upload the podcast. And then actually we're starting a new something new today. We're going to toss it in at the top. Yeah. Starting at the top here, we're going to have a question of the day. It's going to be a stat question. So maybe it's the stat of the day, but it's actually a question. We're not giving you a stat. We're sort of giving you a stat and asking a question about that stat. And then you're going to give us an answer down in the comments. That's your part of the deal. We'll do the other part. Okay. All right. So the question that we have is, in 2019, QBs rushed for a combined 7,698 yards. That's only the second most in the NFL history, right? In what season and how many yards was number one? So give us that. Let us know who number one, or the number one season and the total yardage from that season for a QB rushing. All right, let's dive in headfirst into the shallow end on our top 12 QBs. We are going 12-1, guys. These rankings are hot, coming in hot, and it's because there's a lot of change. A lot of change. It's going to be a couple asterisks. We're going to have at least one that I know of.
At least one.
Hopefully there's no more.
Hopefully not.
Let's just hope. Yeah. All right. So off the top, we have coming in at number 12, Josh Allen from the Bills. This is, I don't know, this might be a little bit more my fault that he's back at 12 than a little bit higher.
I've kind of maneuvered him as well the more we've talked about it. So yeah,
I haven't looked at
moving him down.
Yeah, I haven't looked at your rankings to see what changes you've made. A lot of people are high on Josh Allen for some reason. I can't figure it out. What am I missing? The dude rushed for so many touchdowns.
9.
Yeah.
9.
And then not only that, they weren't designed runs, guys. This is not Lamar Jackson. His job is to stand in the pocket and throw the ball and to go, well, that guy's not open. How about this guy? Oh, he's not. How about this guy? And instead he goes, that guy's not open. I better run. And just goes, just takes off.
He runs like Mose.
Yeah. Yeah. And so look, I'm not high on Josh Allen. And if he falls out of our top 12, I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
And if he falls out of the top 12 in general, just in fantasy football in general, I really won't be surprised. I'm not a huge fan. I don't think that their offense is high powered. I avoid offenses that are not going to score a lot of points, especially with the QB. So that's where I'm at. He's in for variance, in my opinion. Regression.
Yeah. It's one of those things where if you look at everything outside of his rushing, he is at the back of the pack.
Mediocre.
Yeah. It's very pretty.
Give me Jameis. Give me Jameis all day over him.
Oh, well, in fantasy, absolutely. I mean, we already mentioned 9 rushing touchdowns. That is really going to be hard to repeat. And you also mentioned he's a one read kind of guy. If that read is
it's half a read running, too. It's half a read.
Yeah, it is.
It's like one window. He if that guy's got 2 windows he might flash in, he's only going to read the one window and then he's taken off.
I just don't see there's going to be that much of a change. Yeah, Stephon Diggs is in town. Well, he's a downfield threat. And, Josh Allen's got a cannon of an arm. I mean, he's number 9 rating and
How
99
far?
rating
Yeah,
in
but
Madden right
how
now.
far can Stephon Diggs run in 2 seconds?
I,
Because that's about how long Josh Allen's going to take before he runs. So I don't know.
Man, we were really beating him up. I mean, we like him as a guy. I mean, he's a great guy.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. Runs a little weird, but he's a nice guy. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. But yeah, in fantasy, we're thinking he might step back.
Sorry, Bills Mafia. Although you guys are down on him too. You guys are a little down on him too.
I don't know. One of my fraternity brothers is a big Bills fan, and hopefully he's still watching at this point. I don't know. He might have already stopped. So up next, I shouldn't be leading this one off, but number 11, we have Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers. Go ahead and hit that drop.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go, Pack, go!
Yeah.
So talk about a fall from a guy that was always very much a top 5, even top 3 quarterback, and now we're sitting at number 11. And, it's tough to avoid that now. I mean, how old is he? 37, 38 years old? So it's hard for us to
36.
Oh, is he?
I think he'll be 36 in the season.
Well, that was close. But, now he's struggling to hit 4,000 passing yards. I mean, he just finished a shy over that, and that was 11th best last year. And, they just want to run. I mean, that's they want to take the pressure off of him, even though he's still a stud when he does throw, even though the whole getting away with throwing off his back foot is starting to come back a little bit. Yeah. Everybody was talking about, well, his footwork is quite terrible for an elite quarterback, but he gets away with it because of his arm talent. That excuse is going to start to go away the older he gets, and I think it's just another year of that. So what do you think?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are a little bit wary based on last year's numbers. But again, it was the first year for that offense for him. And he'd been in only one offense his entire career. So I don't have him ranked great. Like I think he's close to where we have him consensus wise in my rankings. But at the same time, I think that he might surprise people a little bit. I'm not talking like top 5 even though, but he's going to be serviceable. I do think he'll still finish in the top 12. A lot of people are throwing him outside the top 12. I think that's crazy. You
got him at 10. I got him at 13.
Okay. I'm not going to bet it. No, I'm not going to bet against him. That's the thing.
Right.
It's like time after time, he's proven everyone wrong. Time after time. And so I just think this might be another year that he does that. It doesn't mean that they're going to win any games. I don't know, but I think that he's going to find a wide receiver too who works finally. I don't know. And Jesus, do you need to? I mean, you've got Devontae. Do you need another guy? I don't know, especially with the passing game in the running backs. That works too.
Devontae Adams' back is going to start hurting eventually if he's the only wide receiver.
It's really hard to carry an entire team. It really is heavy. Your back's going to start hurting.
Yep.
All right. Who do you have? Oh, no, this one's me, right? Number 10. We have Carson Wentz of the Philadelphia Eagles. And, we talked about him a little bit in our last episode when we were talking about Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that we like Zach Ertz is because who else are you going to throw to, right? I mean, and that's true. Like Wentz is a solid QB. He's not – I don't think he's going to blow anybody away. But he's solid, and he knows. I think the phrase I used was he knows where his bread's buttered. I don't know if that was about Wentz or if it was about somebody else, but he does. He knows.
It was about Wentz, about Zach Ertz.
Yeah. So
Wentz,
like it reminds me of Eli Manning in the mid 2000s. Like I remember a buddy of mine who's in our league now, who would consistently end up with Eli Manning on his team for some reason. He didn't like Eli Manning, but he just had Eli Manning on his team. And he would always run into the issue of, man, he's killing me. And I go, wait till the fourth quarter. Just wait for the fourth quarter. And that's Wentz with Ertz. Like, wait till the fourth quarter. Those two guys are going to start just going, oh, yeah, you ready? Yeah, I'm warmed up. And that's what ends up happening. So Wentz puts up numbers. He does. Yeah. Because the fourth quarter, they need them. They need
Yeah.
the numbers. So that's where we've got him. Is it 10? What do you got for me on him?
I mean, I think he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league, even in fantasy, with the cards that he was dealt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
what he
that
did
wide receiver room with what he had as options, there was a reason why they threw it to Zach Ertz a lot and Dallas Goedert and the running backs, is because that wide receiver room was just ravaged by injuries. And hopefully that's going to be a difference this year because, I mean, whenever he has a healthy surrounding cast, I mean, the guy can put up MVP numbers. He did that a couple years ago before he tore his ACL whenever he was scrambling towards the end zone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's another year removed from the torn ACL. He played all the games last year. He was up there when it comes to all the snaps and everything like that when it comes to the total of the league. So I think there's some improvement to be had in this offense.
Yeah.
And he can be right behind it under center. So, I mean, I think we're kind of still a little conservative. It's just you just don't know with that wide receiver room because there are a lot of older people, and then they just brought in a couple younger guys.
Well, so we're conservative with him, but in our minds, but I think people are still fading him. Not even at 10, they're still like pushing him further back. I think there's a good portion of people that have him outside of 12.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of Wentz hate out there.
Oh yeah.
But so up next, it's number 9 is Drew Brees of the New Orleans Saints. So, man, once again, what was the stat that you had right before we started here? How many years in a row did he finish as a top 12?
Yeah. We were talking about that. 15 years in a row, he's been a QB1 in the top 12.
15. I mean, that's model of consistency. And he did the same thing last year whenever he was on the field. He missed 6 games with the torn ligament in the thumb, and Teddy B came in and did quite well. But, I mean, in the games that Drew Brees was active for the whole game, he was like a top 3 quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes lost on people right there. And it's because of the fact that all of the statistic numbers keep falling back when it comes to average depth of target, everything when it comes to how far he's throwing it. Yeah. Everything's starting to come back because, I mean, he's 41 years old, so it's bound to come back. But the guy is still just uber athletic or uber accurate. Sorry, not athletic. Nobody really talks about Drew Brees as being an athlete. Sorry, buddy.
Not anymore.
You're Purdue grad, so yeah.
Yeah, we can talk bad about him. Yeah,
we can. But good supporting cast. They brought in Emmanuel Sanders, and everybody else is pretty much there from what they had last year. So I just think it's going up still.
Yeah. I mean, come on, guys. One last ride, right? It's one last ride.
I mean, he literally said this is one last ride.
Yeah, I mean, this is his last year. We know it is. Yep. He might still have a deal to talk in a booth. I don't know. That might have gone by the wayside because he wanted to stand up for the flag or something, right? Yeah. So he's going to put up numbers in an offense that he's been in for a very long time, and he's just going to do it. And he's going to turn in a solid year for you. We have him in our expert league. We ended up
in the
with
quarantine
him.
community league. So definitely check that out on Twitter.
Yeah, we actually ended up stacking him with Jared Cook. Not intentionally, but we ended up stacking him with Jared Cook. Yeah. And so look, you're going to get what you're getting with Drew Brees, and you're getting him at a good value. And like you said, in the games that he played a full game, he was still a top 3 QB. He has the capability of turning numbers in for you. And if you're looking at a positive regression, right? A progression of touchdowns for Michael Thomas, who's throwing those TDs? Like it's not going to be Teddy Bridgewater anymore. It's probably not going to be
Hill. Maybe it'll steal a couple things here or there, but
it's not going to be Jameis Winston.
No,
because as long as Drew Brees is healthy, he's going to be throwing those TDs. So
once again, when it comes back to our quarantine league, I think we got him in like the 10th round or something like that.
Yeah,
so
I think it was.
You can wait. You can wait.
Yeah.
What we got next, Kyle?
I don't even know how many QBs were off the board when we took him. I don't know. I think there was one team that already had 2 QBs, and I think there was one other team that didn't have a QB. So it was like 11 QBs off the board when we took him.
Yeah.
All right, so coming in at number 8, this one's a hot button right now, guys. We don't really know. And that's Matthew Stafford with the Detroit Lions. It's big asterisk here. So he has been placed on the COVID IR or whatever it is. I don't know what they're calling it today. He's been placed on that. They're not allowed to disclose whether he has tested positive or if he's just been around someone who has tested
Correct.
positive.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to disclose that, so we don't have any more information. But dude, Justin calls him Mr. 5,000 for a reason.
Yep.
And that's because he's going to try to throw for 5,000 yards. And I swear he's trying to do it every game. He's yet to do it.
Has to.
He hasn't done it yet. Yeah, he has to.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, they I think last year they were the team that blew the most fourth quarter leads in the league. It wasn't a small number.
The Lions are on the Lions.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like, isn't Matt Patricia supposed to be a defensive coach? How do you blow fourth quarter leads as a defensive coach?
Number two.
An ego that's enormous. That's how they do it. Look, Matthew Stafford has always put the numbers up. Like 4,500 yards plus is pretty standard for him. And you've got touchdown catching machines in Galladay and Jones. Unfortunately, Galladay's now on a list somewhere. Like this team, like I said, has an asterisk next to it. There's too much influx. Probably not worth taking the risk on right now. In a couple weeks, we might know enough to be able to say, yeah, I'm comfortable taking the risk, or no, we're done with the Lions completely. They're just going to be somebody who we talked about for a couple months in the summer. Which might be the case anyway. All right, what do you have for me on Matthew Stafford? Do you have anything?
Yeah, we really like the Lions when it comes to fantasy football, but now it's just kind of up in the air, like you just said. But I mean, there's a reason why we like them in fantasy football is because they're usually playing from behind, and you know what that means? That means yards, and that's why you become Mr. 5,000. So you've already mentioned his targets when it comes to Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, and then I gotta throw in T.J. Hawkinson as well. He just finished outside our top 12 tight ends from our episode yesterday, but. I mean, when he's on the field, he's throwing the ball. And last year, before the back injury, he was on pace for almost 40 touchdowns, maybe even a little bit more, I think it was.
Yeah, it was like QB2 or something, right?
He was QB2 before he got hurt. And
well, I think I threw out a stat on him earlier in the year that if you projected his full season, that he was actually like 2 points per game behind Lamar Jackson or something insane. It was dumb. It was dumb, insane. Yeah.
That's insane. So if he was able to sustain that, then we're looking pretty good. And, it's one of those things where, okay, he's not really a guy that's injury prone. I mean, before last season, he had not missed a game since 2010. It's almost a decade's worth of reliability. So hoping the back injury is A-okay and all the COVID and everything hopefully
clears up.
Yep. Yeah.
So for everybody.
For everybody. Up next at number 7, we have Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcons. And this is another one. If you have, is it 7?
Wait, did I hear it?
7 miles an hour.
Oh, goodness. So, I mean, just
comment, what's that drop from, guys?
Oh,
what is
there you
that
go.
from? Comment that.
Where is that from? Also, where am I? Where am I right now? Leave
I
a
don't
comment
know.
down of where I am. If
you better know.
Right. And then, I don't know, you never know. I mean, there's some people that don't watch the greatest show of all time, but that's just me. But we talked a lot about Lions, and we're going to talk a lot about Falcons as well, because their defense is quite terrible, and they're usually playing from behind, and that's why Matt Ryan usually leads the league in fourth quarter comebacks, because he's just throwing the ball all over the place. And this is just weapons after weapons after weapons right now. You got Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage is a guy that you might target in the deep sleeper at the end of your draft, kind of throw it in there as a slot.
Well, another thing to consider right now is that a lot of leagues are going to expand their rostering.
Yeah.
This year.
That'd be a great guy to have in there.
That's a great guy. Look, if you're going past 16 rounds in the draft, like you're going up to 20, 22, somewhere in that neighborhood, Russell Gage is a guy who better end up on your team. Like it just takes one of those two guys going down for whatever reason, and COVID could be it.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, you have yourself a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, startable player.
Yep. Yeah. They added Todd Gurley catching running back. They have Hayden Hurst now. We mentioned him in the last episode. And then, so if Matt Ryan or Matthew Stafford is Mr. 5,000, we're going to call Matt Ryan Mr. 700, as in 700 attempts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's going to throw his arm off.
He's going to throw his arm off. So let's just talk about volume. That's what it is right there. What do you got on him?
I don't have a whole lot more to add, honestly.
Yeah.
You've hit all the high points. Exactly why we like this guy, this offense. It's Dirk Cutter. They just want to throw the ball all the time. The
Fire
run
that pigskin
only,
cow.
the run is only there to every once in a while make the defense go, oh yeah, they still run the ball here. They have that. Is that a thing that we do know? Okay. All right. Moving on. At number 6, we have Deshaun Watson of the Bill O'Brien Texans. Yeah. Bill O'Brien, man, what are you doing? Like Deshaun Watson would have been probably 4th in our rankings.
I probably feel
He'd
pretty
have a
comfortable
chance
there.
to fight in his way into the top 3 over the course of the season.
Yeah.
If he had Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer DeAndre Hopkins on the roster still. Instead, you have a bunch of guys where you go, who's wide receiver 1? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you got Brandon Cooks. He's on his 30th team in the last 4 years.
I think that adds up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that math's right. And he's never managed to seize wide receiver 1 since he was on New Orleans, maybe. I don't know. Has he ever been on the Giants? I don't know. I mean, Tampa, was he that? I don't know. If you just throw a dart at a board with all the names on all the team names, you might catch one that he was on.
Right.
But Deshaun Watson, he's another one of those guys who's going to throw a ton. We like him because he does throw a ton. He's very accurate. He's very intelligent football player, extremely intelligent. His recall of plays is phenomenal. To hear him break down plays and how they happen and why he makes the decisions in real time that he's made, it's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty it's pretty interesting to watch. But beyond that, we also think that they're going to run into some of the situations that we like with the Lions, which is that they're going to be throwing a lot because they have to.
Yep.
This is also why we don't necessarily really like the running backs, because they don't get to run the ball because they're trying to catch up.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with them. I went a little bit long, but hey, I had a good time.
It's one of those things. I think I went a little long on the previous one, so it happens. But yeah, I mean, you've already said most of the things I would say. I mean, you just don't know what kind of wide receivers you have. You have a bunch of guys, but they're guys. Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, Kenny Stills, Kiki Cutie. I mean, they're just a bunch of guys. You just don't know what you're getting consistency wise.
Yeah. I've heard it argued that Randall Cobb could be the wide receiver 1 on this team. And
Jesus.
Well, first of all, you're wrong.
Was he in a
Second
contract
of all,
year again?
Oh man, no. I think he got a 4-year deal.
He did. He got
4 year for $40 million or something.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
But I mean, one good thing about Deshaun Watson when it comes to consistency is he gives you a really good rushing floor. I mean, he gave you 413 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. Rushing touchdowns may come down a little bit, but I mean, even if it comes down a few, you're still having a pretty good floor there.
Yeah, but that's all scramble yards. It really is. But it's also because
he doesn't look to run like you just said. It's more scramble yards. He's going more than one read though.
Yeah.
At number 5, we have Kyler Murray. And if you've watched any of our, any of our episodes or anything like that, or breakout players or anything like that, we do like Kyler Murray a lot. And what's not to like when it comes to a Cliff Kingsbury offense in the NFL? Now, don't ask him to do anything on the defensive side when it comes to Cliff Kingsbury, because that's just not what he does. But
that's why it pays so well in fantasy.
Yep, and they want to run as many plays as anybody else in the league, and I think they can do that because they just want to be fast paced and just get the ball down the field.
Twice as many plays.
Twice as many. So, I mean, they also added the guy that we were just talking about, and DeAndre Hopkins, future Hall of Fame.
Never heard of him. Yeah.
So, and
Bill.
Murray is one of those guys that's in line for a touchdown progression. I hate that positive regression, whatever it is, but
it's called a progression. The correct word
is
that all of you fantasy people are looking for is progression. Positive regression isn't a thing.
But he's definitely in line for a progression when it comes to passing touchdowns, because he was just a little bit more unlucky compared to everybody else in the league on average. So if they're going to throw that much, and once again, that's another guy with a really good rushing floor. Yeah. It's because he scrambles. It's not because they designed any runs or anything like that. It's more just scrambling. So I like him. I like him a lot.
This is an offense that has Christian Kirk was going to be their wide receiver 1. I think he had the potential in this year to probably finish as a wide receiver 2 as a result of that. But then you add DeAndre Hopkins, which who can blame you? And now Kirk's going to struggle to get to wide receiver 2, maybe. I don't know. I think that he could be back in wide receiver 2, somewhere in the middle maybe. But you have 2 phenomenal wide receivers. You add another guy who is really, really fast in Andy Isabella. You've got
don't forget about the old man.
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah, Larry the infinite one Fitzgerald, who
still gets it done.
Well, he's on pace, I think, to is it him? Yeah, I think he's the one who's on pace right now to have more catches than Jerry Rice or something like that.
No, he won't. No, it's a different guy. He's at number 2. He's trying to get to number 2. Michael Thomas is the only one that, if he continues to play for like 15 more freaking years, he might.
No, there's actually somebody else that is on pace that they're saying will do it, but it's Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry's on pace to have more catches than Jerry Rice.
Yeah,
but he's nowhere near the yardage total.
Yards. Yeah.
But Larry Fitzgerald, I mean, if you want to be number 2, why not be number 2 to Jerry Rice, right? I mean, could there be anything so bad, right? So not only that, then they have Kenyon Drake, who can catch the ball out of the backfield. This is an up-tempo offense that's not going to have to move players off the field very often. And so Kyler Murray is just going to be out there orchestrating passes. They're running air raid. They're running fast, up-tempo, easy reads, quick reads, 2 routes. And if it's there or not, you run, it's a quick offense. It's not designed to make him think too hard, but he's moving into the second year on that. He's going to know it much, much better. So we like them both. I think it's a solid opportunity. All right, let's move on to number 4. We have Russell Wilson with the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, we say that because I misspoke one time and for whatever reason ate a frog and
now
said Russell Wilson. We're not saying like he says his name that way. This isn't like a Mike Tyson situation.
No,
but we like him. Obviously, we've got him at 4th.
Yeah.
And what can you say? I mean, the dude's the picture of consistency in an offense that doesn't want to throw the ball, but ultimately has to throw the ball.
Fourth quarter comes. All right, Russell.
Yeah, they're like, oh shoot, we tried to run the ball and it just didn't seem to work. I can't fathom why our cast of our motley crew of running backs who can't seem to stay healthy or hold the ball.
Hold on to the ball.
Why they can't get us there? And then the fourth quarter comes around, they're like, Russ, help. And he's like, I got this. And the dude just balls out. Like, he is I mean, he's what, 5 foot nothing, whatever it is, right? The dude just finds open guys.
Yep.
And when he can't, he scrambles around until he does. And he doesn't get as many rushing yards anymore, but that's because he's like, I'm just going to dance around back here until I can find a guy who opens up.
Right.
And he's got enormous tight ends who are very good at catching the ball, who eventually break free.
Yep.
So, we like Russell Wilson.
Absolutely. I mean, you already mentioned how reliable he is, and he's always consistent. He's been a top 12 QB all 8 seasons, hasn't missed a game in 8 seasons. Talked about a few weapons.
Now you screwed him over. Way to go, dude.
Yeah, because I'm going to be the one.
You said it. You said the thing.
I did.
You said the
I
thing.
did. Well, that's all right. He should be fine. But we also got to mention Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Those are both good returning wide receivers. So, you mentioned that his floor for rushing isn't as high as it was, and that's pretty accurate. I mean, he only gave you 340 yards last year and 3 rushing touchdowns. Usually he's right around that 500 mark, but, if he still stays around there, that's still a decent rushing floor when it comes to quarterbacks this day and age. So, I mean, he was on pace, his first few weeks. He was number 2 behind just Lamar, and then
last year they were talking about him as a possible MVP.
Absolutely.
For a good part of the season.
And then I think a lot of it has to do with Tyler Lockett getting hurt. Truthfully.
A lot of it also had to do with they faced Arizona twice during that span. And
that usually helps when it comes to defense. Yeah.
Tight ends blew up.
Yeah. But all right, up next, number 3, we have Dak Prescott with the Dallas Cowboys. Inside joke. If you know what movie that's from, go ahead and throw a little comment down below.
Dak. Yeah,
sounds like that. That's what it sounds like. But so we're at number 3 this year, and he actually finished as number 3 QB last year. And let's go ahead and maybe upgrade a little bit in the wide receiver room. No more Randall Cobb. Let's bring in rookie wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Granted, rookie wide receivers may not perform as much, but that's still a very good talent. But last year he ranked no lower than 6th in pass attempts, completions, passing average, passing touchdowns. Let's just say that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And that means that you are a good fantasy QB. So I don't know. I just think it's still up and up for Dak. And whenever we talk about the Dallas Cowboys, we talk about Mike McCarthy. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and leave the floor to you when it comes to Mike McCarthy and what he does for offenses.
I mean, they're going to throw. They're just going to throw a ton. Dak is protected by the fact that Zeke is a solid running back. So what little bit of the game plan is going to go to the running game is going to be fairly effective, enough that it's going to allow the play action pass to work effectively. And Dak struggles a little bit sometimes with his accuracy. He's not like Jay Cutler here. He's not throwing it 10 yards in front of the receiver into the dirt or anything like that. But where he struggles is usually on guys who are a little further down the field and in motion when the ball is thrown. So he's trying to throw to a spot and meet the receiver there. That's where he misses a little bit. That's an important thing when it comes to Mike McCarthy. You can't miss those throws. You have to be able to throw to the spot, not throw to the guy. And he's very good throwing to the guy. He's less good throwing to the spot. But what we think here is that you've got Mike McCarthy, who is very good at getting quarterbacks to the next level. And, he did want this team. He did want to be on this team and coach them. And they've got a phenomenal cadre of wide receivers. And we think the tight end's phenomenal there too. He's in line for a good year. And so we think that good things are coming for Dak Prescott. He did finish 3rd last year, and he's getting an upgrade in passing availability, right? He's not a scrambler necessarily. He's not a guy who's going to get you a ton of yards, but he's going to get you enough yards that you can go, that's solid. So, that's why he's at 3, and he hasn't moved up. He needs to add more scrambling, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, all right. Who do you have? Or actually, this one's me again, right? We're at number 2. We have, which one? Who do you think it is? It's
I don't know.
Lamar Jackson. We have Lamar Jackson at number 2. And we both liked Lamar Jackson last year.
Yeah.
We weren't doing the podcast last year, but we were both pretty high on Lamar Jackson.
Maybe not finishing number 1 or doing
no. We didn't. We did not say, "Oh, hey, look, Lamar Jackson is going to be the number 1." We didn't say that, right? But we were both sitting in our draft, and we both had QBs, and we're like, why is this dude still on the board? It's like round 13 or something. What the hell is going on here? Yeah, it was dumb. Yeah. Look, I gave you a stupid stat earlier. Like, I think I mentioned that he had 1,200 rushing yards. He set the record for quarterbacks.
It's like, if you took away all the passing, he would have finished as a top 12 running back just in running.
Yeah, that's insane. Just in rushing. But he's up for like a regression, right? The word regression, right? A negative regression.
Yeah.
Is that right? Let's fish for words, right? Let's try to sound smarter than we are. No, he's up for a regression definitely on the touchdowns. But I think that that's going to be counteracted to some extent by the passing TDs. I think that his passing skills have grown each year. And he's demonstrated that he believes that his job is to pass. He is a very effective runner, absolutely. But they design runs for him because he's so good at running. But that is not him going and saying, first read didn't pan out, so I'm taking off. It's not a Josh Allen situation. So we like him because you can rely on him to get a real rushing floor that's been play called for him, actually. Like, they want him to do that. They want him to do it less.
Yeah.
But they want him to do that.
Yep. You already mentioned that he's in line for a little bit of a regression in the touchdown department. I mean, he was at a 9% touchdown rate last year, which is one of the highest in the last decade for
Yeah.
QBs. I mean, and that touchdown to interception ratio was godly good. I mean, it was 36 to, I think, like 5 interceptions or something ridiculous. So there's going to be a little bit of regression there. And it's one of those things where you look at numbers, you look at different things, you look at stats from previous years. You have to look at those. I mean, there's only been one guy in the last 20 years that finished number one back-to-back in QBs. That was Dante Culpepper in 03 and 04. So the numbers are kind of against them, and I think that's kind of why we're kind of looking at, we're looking at a little bit more consistency with the surrounding cast when it comes to weapons, and that's why we have this other guy at number one, and his name is Patrick Mahomes. Ever heard of him?
Never.
No, he's just a $500 million man now, just walking down. Now he owns a part of the Kansas City Royals, but I mean, granted, anybody of us probably could do that. I got $20 in my pocket, so
I might be able to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, any of us could probably do that, but that's what's nuts. Still, is this guy's only going to be 25 during the season, and he's already won a Super Bowl, already won a regular season MVP.
Already dislocated his knee.
Yeah, I mean, he had a knee issue.
Yeah, a little bit of an issue.
Just a little bit of an issue, just the knee. That's all.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was still in line before, or like if you take out the knee issue games, he was still in line for 40 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
And that was after he already broke the record the previous year, right?
Yeah, he missed like 4 games or something. It was like it was like 2 full games that he missed or something, which is stupid. Yeah, it's insane.
He did come back, and he was still a little hampered by it, of course.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't take off and run anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's like, I guess I'll just have to throw to Tyreek Hill all the time, which isn't
or Travis Kelce.
Threw to Travis Kelce all the time. But the thing about it is that he still finished like 5th or something. Like he finished somewhere between 5 and 7 at the end of the year.
Still really good. Yeah. I think he finished like 3rd.
You look at it and you're like, oh, he had a down year. What? Because he didn't score 90 more points than QB2? Right? I mean, because that's what he did. Like in 2018, it was like 101 points. It was like 99 points or something like that, more than Matt Ryan, who was QB2 that year. And that is not normal. Like that doesn't happen.
Did he break it?
Yeah. I mean, and everybody's like, oh yeah, Lamar Jackson was phenomenal last year. It was just amazing. Like it was the greatest season ever. And I'm like, man, actually he didn't outpace QB2 by the same amount as Pat Mahomes did in 2018. I'm not knocking Lamar Jackson by saying that because he turned in a absolutely ridiculous and historic level year in a lot of respects. But let's not kid ourselves. Like there was only one guy who last year set himself apart in a way that just has to be absolutely recognized in fantasy football, and that's Christian McCaffrey. But in 2018, Pat Mahomes did something that no one else had done.
And that was basically
that was show that he is the force to be reckoned with in this league when it comes to QBs, and that's for the foreseeable future. That's truth. I mean, they just keep reloading. They're like, okay, well, Tyreek's 1 more year older. Let's go and get another fast guy just in case. That's what they do. Yep. And can you blame them? And
now they have a really good running back too.
Yeah. So look, Mahomes. We were both actually kind of flip-flopped on I had him at 1, you had him at 2, and now you've got him at 1 with me. And
I'm all the way with you this time.
This is going to be a crazy season in a lot of ways, and we think that, maybe he's going to be one of those guys who, even with a friggin' dislocated knee, the dude was still consistent for you. Like, he was still serviceable. Yeah, he missed some time. He also had a down part because of Tyreek Hill's broken clavicle or dislocated clavicle, right? A lot of dislocations on that team. Yeah, it was a really bad injury. But and he missed a lot more time because that was a life-threatening injury. But you've got a healthy Tyreek Hill, I presume. I don't know. And you've got a healthy Pat Mahomes. What do you need? What else do you need? Oh yeah, you got a really awesome running back coming in. Okay. What have you done to improve, guys? Jeez. So, all right, that's enough. I think
you still got the Lizard King there too.
Yeah.
We got to throw that in there.
Yeah. So again, our stat of the day, guys, if you want to throw a comment down there and answer our stat of the day is that in 2019, QBs rushed for a combined 7,698 yards. That was only the second most in the history of the NFL, even though Lamar Jackson set the record for QB rushing total, right?
Total.
Total. What season was number one and how many yards was that? So throw that comment down there. Make sure you hit subscribe, click that bell so you're notified every time that we upload the best fantasy football podcast on the internet. Thanks for being a fan of The Upside, and we will see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Bye.